The health unit issues a warning.
It's not a very common disease in Canada, in Windsor, Essex County.
For a potential hepatitis A exposure at a Tecumseh restaurant. Dog in distress.
I would smash the window, let the dog out.
When protecting pets can mean breaking the law. And canceled flights.
I would always tell every passenger in a situation like this to check all of their flights if they're connecting.
Air Canada prepares for a shutdown ahead of a possible strike.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening and thank you for joining us and welcome to our AM 800 listeners. There's a health warning tonight for anyone who ate at a Tecumseh restaurant earlier this month. The restaurant confirming one of its employees has hepatitis A. Travis Fortnum joining me tonight with the concerns. Travis.
That's right, Stephanie. It's the restaurant who confirmed this, but the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit has issued an advisory for people who dined at Fratelli Pasta and Grill on two separate sets of dates, each with different next steps. Fratelli is on Lanou Street in Tecumseh. WeChew says anyone who ate there between August 1st and 6th and isn't already vaccinated against hepatitis A may still be eligible for preventative treatment. The other dates to note are after 3 p.m. on July 19th, 20th, 22nd, and 23rd. But if you were there then, the treatment window has passed. The health unit says you should still watch for symptoms for up to 50 days after your visit.
It's not a very common disease in Canada, in Windsor, Essex County. Most of the time, people, when travel outside of the country to those areas which hepatitis A is circulating, they might be exposed and get the disease. And then when they come back to Windsor, Essex, they show symptoms. So it's very important to talk to the healthcare provider about vaccination.
Hepatitis A is a liver infection spread most often through contaminated food or water. Symptoms can include fever, dark urine, fatigue, nausea, stomach cramps, and yellowing of the skin or eyes, sometimes taking weeks to appear. Preventative treatment is available at the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit by appointment until August 20th. To find out if you're eligible, call them or your doctor. In a statement, Fratelli identified the person with Hep A as an employee, saying they're in hospital, adding they wish them a full and speedy recovery, and also saying that the restaurant passed a full health unit inspection yesterday with no issues, and that food safety and public health remain top priorities. Stephanie.
As it should be. Okay, Travis Fortnum with our top story tonight. Thank you for this. Air Canada says it will start canceling flights tomorrow, gradually suspending takeoff and landings over the next 72 hours to prepare for a shutdown. The phased-in suspension comes ahead of a possible strike starting Saturday at 1 a.m. The union, representing 10,000 flight attendants, has given the airline 72 hours to reach a deal. CTV's Judy Trin on whether there's an 11th hour solution.
Air Canada has started cancelling flights to lock out its flight attendants, even before they walk off the job, leaving some in a desperate lurch. Marianne Barrow's weekend flight to LA was cancelled. She may not get to her family reunion.
It's been 3 hours. I'm on hold, like waiting. So I told my husband, drop me off at the airport. Maybe someone can help me from an Air Canada customer service. And they said they can't.
To explain why the airline is taking measures ahead of Saturday's strike deadline, Air Canada President Michael Rousseau says the airline regrets the impact of the disruption. He blames the disappointing conduct of CUPE's negotiators and says the risk of a strike can create chaos for travelers. The union, representing 10,000 flight attendants, said that Air Canada's offer doesn't keep pace with inflation.
The company came to us with a very minimal wage proposal. So they put 8% on the table in the first year, and that still would not pull our members out of the poverty level at the beginning.
Air Canada did offer a 38% increase in pay over 4 years, improved pension, ground pay, and crew rest, and an offer for binding arbitration. The airline will lose hundreds of millions of dollars if a strike can't be averted.
So they've struggled a bit with profitability the last quarter. So this is going to be something that will really hit the bottom line.
130,000 passengers could be impacted daily. For now, many remain on the side of the workers.
We think that they should get paid for what they're doing. If they're not getting paid for those hours boarding and deplaning, they should be paid for that.
For now, the federal government is staying on the sidelines, but offering mediators to help with negotiations. Federal Labor Minister Patty Hajdu says the best agreements are the ones the parties reach themselves. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
That looming strike at Air Canada is causing major turbulence for some Windsor-Essex travelers. While flights between Windsor and Toronto are expected to continue, those heading overseas are facing major disruptions and fears of skyrocketing costs. CTV's Sanjay Maru explains.
We've been planning for about 6 months, but solidified the flights about 4 months ago.
After booking her annual family vacation to Italy, Anna Raymond was just days away from surprising her children with first-class tickets. But a potential Air Canada strike is forcing her to weigh costly, last-minute options to keep the trip alive.
Initially, the cost was approximately $21,000. Looking into it this morning, different airlines, such short notice, we're looking at $48,000.
The family had already arranged via rail tickets to get to Toronto, but any change in flights mean rearranging that leg of the journey too.
Even if we find a new plan, everything kind of still has to line up, so that's another challenge.
The evolving situation has overseas travelers scrambling, but for those flying between Windsor and Toronto, a sigh of relief.
At YQG, Air Canada flights are operated by Jazz, which according to the airline will continue as normal. But I would always tell every passenger in a situation like this to check all of their flights if they're connecting to see the status of the connection.
If Toronto is just a layover to your final destination, however, travel experts say it's worth securing a backup plan now rather than waiting for a cancellation notice.
If you didn't book with a travel agent or someone like us, and you're going to have to call the airline directly, be prepared to stay on hold for quite a long time. If you have the chance to get your money back, get a refund, if they're offering it, I would probably do that and look at alternative for the whole trip rather than just keeping part of it.
It's a decision Anna Raymond is giving careful consideration, worried that canceling on her own could leave her out tens of thousands of dollars. That's because her first-class seats were booked as non-refundable, meaning she has to wait until Air Canada officially starts canceling flights if she wants to see her money back.
We're keeping our fingers crossed that the government might get involved in this, and even at the economy prices, it's double what we paid initially because we did plan this so far ahead.
In Windsor, Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
That takes us to our question of the day. Do you worry about flight cancellations when you book a trip? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you have encountered racism in sports. Out of almost 600 votes, 79% say no. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me now for our first look at the weather from the top of the Bell Building tonight. Good evening, Gary.
Good evening, Stephanie. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are a bit cooler, relatively speaking. Temperatures are technically slightly above seasonal, but this light breeze has helped to make things a little bit more hospitable, certainly at the surface. Temperatures are still going to be in the upper 20s through to about 8 o'clock. By midnight, down to 22. Mostly sunny conditions through to dusk. And the cold front that swept east is pushing showers and thunderstorms to the Atlantic coast. Meanwhile, high pressure is going to take hold, which means more sunshine for tomorrow and perhaps the weekend. I'll break down what you need to know just ahead.
Already convicted on extortion and child pornography charges, the Windsor man and creator of Creeper Hunter TV was found not guilty today of intimidating a justice system participant. With more on the judge's ruling, here's CTV's Nick Paparella.
After a two-day trial, Justice James Strabopoulos wasted little time in handing down his decision and finding 44-year-old Jason Nasser not guilty of intimidating a justice system participant. The charge stems from his trial on harassment, extortion, and child pornography charges in January of 2023. He was eventually found guilty, but during a heated exchange with the Crown at that trial, Nasser blurted out that he knew the name of the prosecutor's child. The judge at this trial found, "I accept the Crown's testimony that he was immediately overcome with a gut-wrenching sense of fear when Mr. Nasser mentioned his youngest child by name during cross-examination. Any lawyer would act similarly." He went on to say, Mr. Nasser had a motive to mention the Crown's child to instill fear in him and dissuade him from continuing with the line of questioning. However, Justice Stavropoulos said one of the main reasons Nasser was acquitted was because he was cut off by the presiding judge after saying the child's name, and he wasn't able to complete his sentence. As a result, Mr. Nasser never finished saying what he planned to after mentioning the child. He continued, "It is impossible to know where Mr. Nasser was heading before being interrupted by the trial judge." During the trial 2.5 years ago, the Crown maintained that Nasser was operating Creeper Hunter TV for his own sexual gratification, while the accused said it was to educate the public and to catch predators. Nasser's dealings with the court aren't over yet because he is appealing his prior convictions. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Windsor police has issued an arrest warrant for a 27-year-old man wanted in connection with a $130,000 financial fraud case. Police say the suspect used a fake Canadian passport to transfer $138,000 into $100,000 American at a currency exchange business. After getting the U.S. money, police say the suspect then canceled the Canadian transfer, and the business lost roughly $130,000. Investigators have identified the suspect as Cameron Alexander Bateman of Burlington, Ontario. Bateman is wanted on 7 charges, including fraud, using a forged passport, and identity theft. 2 suspects are wanted after a gunpoint robbery in West Windsor. Windsor police say 2 men wearing ski masks chased 2 young people from a restaurant in the 800 block of Huron Church Road. Now, this happened August 4th around 9 p.m. According to police, 1 victim was assaulted while the second suspect pointed a firearm at him and demanded his shoes and jewelry. Police say the suspects fled the area on foot. The victim suffered minor physical injuries. Investigators are looking to identify the 2 suspects. The first is described as possibly Middle Eastern with curly black hair and a very thin mustache. He was wearing a white T-shirt, white and blue Jordan shoes, and ripped jeans. He also had a black side bag. The second suspect is described as light-skinned, possibly Middle Eastern with curly hair. He was wearing a black T-shirt with a white circular logo in the center, black ripped jeans, and white Jordan shoes. Anyone with information is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. 1 person was sent to hospital following a fire on Sandwich Street last night. The occupant of an apartment in the 3200 block of Sandwich Street was treated for smoke inhalation and discharged this morning. The fire is estimated to have caused around $50,000 in damage. Officials determined the cause as accidental, caused by careless discarding of smoking materials. The fire was contained to 1 unit in the apartment building. A shattered window and a dog possibly in distress. A concerned citizen took action when she spotted a pet locked in a sweltering car. But her act of compassion would have landed her in legal trouble. Now, questions are being raised about where the line is drawn between rescuing animals and breaking the law. CTV's Bob Belichico takes a closer look at that gray area.
I would smash the window, let the dog out.
What would you do if you walked by a vehicle on a hot summer day and felt concerned for the safety of a pet that was inside?
I wouldn't just leave it. I would check to see how the dog's doing, and if it looks like it's in distress, I would probably break the window as well.
According to Windsor police, a concerned citizen believed the dog was in distress in the Strip Plaza parking lot at Lozon and Tecumseh Road last weekend. Windsor police say a dog was left in a vehicle for about 10 minutes while the owner attended a business inside the Strip Plaza. Police arrived shortly before 2:30 on a day when Environment Canada issued a heat advisory. The citizen contacted police before smashing a window. Police determined the dog showed no signs of distress.
The law is that you shouldn't be breaking somebody else's property. Let the police do that, and they can rely on that legislation to do so.
Contact Windsor Police or Windsor Fire and Rescue Services immediately. And we also urge callers to always listen to the instructions and abide by the instructions that the dispatchers are providing.
The citizen could have been arrested for mischief, but charges were not laid in this case. Now, how could you recognize a dog in distress?
Heat stroke, you're going to see lethargy, but I mean, that's hard in a car. So, if you see the dog laying down, not moving, that's definitely a sign of severe distress.
Lynette Bain, Executive Director of the Windsor-Essex County Humane Society, says excessive panting could be another sign.
You need a veterinary professional to tell if the dog's in heat stroke, because they might need to look at the color of the dog's gums, to look if it's dehydrated. There's so many different things that they would do, but that's why calling 911 is your best bet.
According to the Canada Safety Council, the temperature inside a previously air-conditioned vehicle could go from 35 to 50 degrees Celsius in 20 minutes. Someone deemed guilty of leaving a pet in danger could be slapped with up to 2 years in jail and or a $10,000 fine. Bob Belichico, CTV News.
More than a decade in the making, Windsor's long-awaited new hospital has a new name and a rising price tag. The Fancy Family Hospital was named Tuesday in honor of the late John Thomas Fancy, who donated $40 million from his estate. Officials confirm construction costs have significantly increased, but declined to disclose the updated estimate. It's been 10 years since the site of the future acute care hospital was chosen. Now,
our project is quickly growing momentum.
Shovels are expected to hit the ground on what will be called the Fancy Family Hospital in the new year.
The design process is quickly underway and ramping up at light speed.
But hospital officials say the initial cost estimate of $2 billion is now out of date.
Over the last, 7 years, the cost of everything has gone up exponentially, be it hospital equipment, be it construction.
The process of soliciting proposals for the construction of the state-of-the-art facility is now underway, but there is no estimate of what it might cost.
Even when we get a number, when they go out to tender, you don't want to be announcing, oh, this is an X amount of billion-dollar project, because then the bidders go, oh, it's an X amount of guess what we're bidding. So it's, you want to have a competitive market out there.
It's estimated to take 5 to 7 years to complete the 2 million square foot project. For comparison, it is 50 to 60% larger than the Met and Olette campuses combined.
And it's not big for the sake of being big. It's big because we need the spaces. We need the single-family rooms, single patient rooms. We need bigger ORs. We need, if you walk through the hallways of Met and Olette, you can see how cramped they are where we have equipment out in the hallways. We got to get away from that.
The Fancy Family Hospital will be part of an overall corporate rebranding of Windsor Regional Hospital that will begin in the fall.
If you look at organizations like Trillium Health Partners, it's Trillium Health Partners, and then they have their individual sites named after individuals as well. So it's going to be something like that. But that's going to take about a year for us to do that process. In the meantime, we're still called Windsor Regional Hospital, but it's going to be along that type of idea where you have the overarching corporation, which has multiple hospital sites, and this is one of them, which would be the Fancy Family Hospital. It's going to be amazing when it's done.
I came outside and the whole place was like a crime scene.
Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, a shocking sight in an Ottawa residential area. Nighttime construction gets the green light. Which neighborhood and how it could affect your sleep? Next. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. A dump truck left a path of destruction through an Ottawa area subdivision. First responders say the driver was having a heat-related medical emergency and lost control. CTV's Sean Varden reports.
It happened mid-morning on a quiet Barhaven street. A dump truck driver lost control, smashing into several cars.
And it was really loud. It was really fast, and we heard the engine rev, so he was flooring it. And it was like, okay, and then we heard the bang, and it was like, okay, that's not right. And when all we saw was like dust and smoke, and I was like, that's our car. To the right, it should be here.
At least 5 vehicles were damaged, some a total write-off. No bystanders were hurt, but if this crash was just seconds earlier or later, that might not have been the case. Some people say they're in their cars just moments before the dump truck came crashing down the street.
So we had come outside, I grabbed some stuff from the car, I went inside to take a shower, and then I heard this loud bang. I thought my sister fell. I came outside and the whole place was like a crime scene.
Not a lot is known about how the collisions happened, but first responders now say it happened before 10 a.m. The Ottawa paramedic spokesperson tells CTV News the driver experienced a medical emergency, possibly related to heat. We're told the driver was taken to hospital in stable condition.
Yeah, we're all dressed to leave. And it was just happened all at once, so it was kind of really scary. So I don't know what to do, but it's been a hell of a day. I'm happy that no lives were lost and we are okay.
The Ottawa Police Service says officers are sent to the scene and that the incident remains under investigation. Sean Varden, CTV News.
Now to Essex, and after weeks of public meetings and council debate, the fate of a proposed wedding venue in the Harrow area is still up in the air. Here's what happened when former Mayor Larry Snively, sitting in the gallery, decided he'd heard enough.
You're done. And next election, you're done and you're done.
Snively, clearly frustrated, walked out of the chambers, pointing at councillors who opposed the failed motion for first and second reading to approve the needed zoning, saying they're done next election. Mayor Sherry Bondi says the town will look at possible legal options after what some saw as a threatening comment. After the outburst in a closed-door session for legal advice, council tabled the item, shelving it for now. Bondi acknowledges that's going to frustrate more than just Snively.
I think we're all frustrated. I think we're, and the thing is the proponents have been operating for a couple of years already, so it's not like they haven't been operating, so there's probably more to come on this file. Stay tuned. I don't know exactly when, but I don't think the song is over.
I'm disappointed. I think it's disappointing. For the proponent themselves, they now have to go and appeal to the OLT to get a decision. It was a simple process. We could have made a decision tonight.
The proposal is now off the agenda until a councillor moves it to bring it back. If that doesn't happen by September 16th, the property owners can take their case to the Ontario Land Tribunal, which has the power to make the call. No decision in Tecumseh either last night. Up for discussion, a 5-story hotel, a 2-story commercial plaza, and possibly 4 restaurants with drive-thrus. Multiple residents voiced concerns, including shadows, noise, excessive lighting, and a lack of privacy stemming from the proposed development. The town looking at a rezoning application for the northwest corner of the Manning Road and County Road 42 intersection, and is gathering input from residents to take back to council at a later date. Currently, the area is zoned as agricultural, commercial, and residential. The application is to change it to general commercial zoning. LaSalle Council has said yes to a noise exemption for the construction of a roundabout at Sandwich West Parkway and Heritage Drive. Construction began in late July at the shops at Heritage in LaSalle. To protect the concrete from extreme heat, crews have been given permission to start as early as 5:30 in the morning and extend it into some evenings. The town says impacts will be minimal, with work expected to ramp up in about 3 weeks. Residents will be notified ahead of time.
Taking these nuisances, I might call them, over a few nights is really all it's going to be, is going to now stop. Like, what would be more of a nuisance? Would you want to see traffic backups and everything else here in your community, in your neighborhood? So this is what's going to allow us to stop that.
The province has announced new supports for businesses being hit hard by the Canada-U.S. trade war.
This new program will provide Ontario-based companies in the steel, aluminum, and auto sectors some of the hardest hit by U.S. tariffs, with up to $1 billion in funding support. and will provide some much-needed relief for Ontario businesses who are facing working capital challenges as a result of tariffs, including payroll, lease, and utility payments. Our government is committing $1 billion in emergency loans to be delivered through the new Protect Ontario financing program, which will serve as a key part of our plan to not only keep workers on the job in sectors impacted by tariffs, but to also help us build a more resilient and self-reliant economy that future generations of Ontarians can count on.
The announcement comes along with the province's latest fiscal update. The first quarter finances showed Ontario's GDP increased by 0.6% in that period, supported by higher exports and household spending. Canada's main stock index finished higher today. In Toronto, the TSX gained 73 points. In New York, the Dow added 464. The Nasdaq is up 231. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.04 On commodity markets, gold is up more than $9 an ounce and oil lost 52 cents a barrel. Could your guitar or piano be the key to a sharper mind? The new research that hits all the right notes, that's coming up.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thank you, Deborah, for this shot of a praying mantis in her garden. Fascinating creature. Will it fascinate you that cooler temperatures are on the way? Details next.
Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Another sizzling hot day out there. Gary joins me again for an extended look.
It was warm today, but the good news is we're not in a heat warning. The ground is certainly stressed. As you can see, a lot of brown patches in areas right across much of southern Ontario. Today's temperature, yet again, above seasonal by a couple of degrees throughout extreme southwestern Ontario between Windsor, Essex, and Chatham-Kent. Our low was a very warm 20.5 degrees Celsius before dawn this morning. It felt like about 28 to 30. Humidity combined with these warm above seasonal temperatures. Right now, 28 to 29 between Windsor, Essex, Chatham-Kent, under mostly sunny conditions. I'd say partly sunny conditions or partly cloudy. Still makes it feel several degrees warmer. The humidex value has been as high as 38. It's holding at 37 in both locales right now. Partly cloudy conditions, a bit hazy across the nation. We are warming up again in Saskatchewan, but it's been cool-ish, relatively speaking, and some of that cooler air could be headed east over the next several days. More on that in just a moment. Much of southern Ontario has been in the upper 20s, low 30s. The worst weather in North America is on the eastern flank, headed towards the Atlantic Ocean. And thunderstorms, the worst of our stateside. So that's some good news. Right now, we anticipate, relatively speaking, a quiet evening. There could be just an isolated smattering of showers in the next 12 hours. I think we'll see more a fog situation. If we see any cloud at all, it will be at the surface. A foggy start towards tomorrow morning, say around 6, 7, 8 a.m., and then it dissipates and will give way to mostly sunny conditions. So the good news is rainfall, if you have plans out there outside tomorrow, is not likely. However, gardeners and of course our friends in the agricultural community do need the rains. Tonight, partly cloudy conditions through to midnight. We'll be looking at 22 degrees to start things early, feeling like about 28, 29 Thursday morning, mostly sunny. Fog, as mentioned, giving way to sunshine, and it will feel at peak in the afternoon, say around 3 o'clock, 34 degrees. That's your humidex value. Sunny on Friday, Saturday, 29, 32. Sunny on, Sunday, some showers, and then we're looking at a cooling period. lower 20s. Yes, indeed. 23 to about 25 from Monday through to Wednesday of next week.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
There's more evidence underscoring the power of music and its positive impact on our health. A new study by Baycrest found that playing an instrument may protect against cognitive aging. CTV health reporter Pauline Chan has the story.
I've been playing piano since kindergarten. I started taking piano lessons at the Royal Conservatory of Music.
The study by Claude Alain and others involved measuring the brain activity of 25 older musicians, 25 older non-musicians, and 24 young non-musicians using MRI.
One has to do as looking at the benefit of musical training and to what extent it improves perceptual and cognitive function in young adults, for example. And in addition to that, we also have some research looking at age-related change in perception and cognition.
Normal aging is typically associated with declines in sensory and cognitive functions, and those age-related changes are usually accompanied by increased neural activity.
The finding was quite surprising. We thought that maybe what will happen with music training is that older adults may have more efficient activity and may even generate more activity that we thought could index some compensatory mechanisms. But what we found was the opposite.
In other words, the brain activity in older musicians did not have to increase to perform certain cognitive tasks. It remained more like that of a young adult.
Music training is helping you keep a younger brain.
Richard says he stopped playing music for some years, but came back to it after his father, who was a band leader, passed away.
I try actually to play a lot of the songs that I know in different styles. I'll play like a slower waltz thing in a rock and roll style.
And the research indicates that even years after musical training, the brain retains cognitive benefits. And even when music training starts late in life, it still helps, as do other lifestyle choices, such as learning a new language.
This is, I think, very exciting because you can imagine in terms of education that we should probably have music class the same way we have gym class, for example.
For Richard Parnes, the benefits are first of all enjoyment for himself and his audience, but the brain benefits are certainly welcome. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
For the 23rd year, Dairy Queen is teaming up with Children's Hospital Foundations across Canada, including right here in Windsor for Miracle Treat Day. Tomorrow, August 14th, your Blizzard ice cream could help change a child's life. Net proceeds from every Blizzard treat sold tomorrow will support the Children's Health Foundation, helping improve care for children receiving treatment in our community. And the best part, every dollar raised in Windsor stays in Windsor. Since 1984, DQ has raised over $55 million nationwide from Miracle Treat Day. 5-year-old Oakley is one of the ambassadors this year. Oakley's mom, Lisa Harms, is grateful for the ongoing community support from both the public and the Dairy Queen organization.
Well, we feel like London Health Science Centre is our home because Oakley's been there for so long. So to just be able to support the hospital and know that the funds are going there to help kids like Oakley is just so important to us.
Scorching strain. Extreme heat isn't just tough on people, it's taking a toll on your car. Coming up on CTV News Windsor, why breakdowns are on the rise.
Acclaimed comedian Jerry D is bringing the laughs to the Coliseum stage on his Funny You Should Say That tour Friday, October 17th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Jerry D at Caesars Windsor, plus a $250 gift card.
The extreme heat is having an impact on our vehicles. If you've noticed more cars breaking down on the side of the road, you're not alone. CAA reports a 15% increase in the number of calls for service. CTV Katie Griffin explains why.
the extreme heat taking a toll on vehicles.
Most people don't realize in the hot weather is your battery is at risk. It's sitting underneath the hood. The temperature underneath your hood is increasing, so it actually cooks the battery.
CAA reporting a 15% increase in calls for service over this time last year.
Just general driving breakdown on the road, as well as like radiators and just heat-related, everything starts to break. It puts a stress on your vehicle.
CAA says there are a number of reasons behind the spike in calls for service, including this extreme heat. More people are traveling within Canada, and they're keeping older vehicles longer.
We've experienced a lot of vehicles overheating on the side of the road.
Ontario Provincial Police have been busy responding to vehicles that had broken down because of the heat, including one that caught fire on the 417. They say regular maintenance and checks are key.
One of the things you want to do is make sure that your fluids are all topped up in your vehicle, do the regular maintenance, have an emergency preparedness kit with you. You can purchase those in stores.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
It looks like a prequel could be in the works for one of the top films at the box office right now.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Horror thriller Weapons brought in more than $42 million in its debut weekend. It tells the story of a town shattered by the mysterious disappearance of an entire classroom of children. Now, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that talks are underway with the filmmaker to create a story about what takes place beforehand, focusing on the origin story of one prominent character in particular. The sources say there is no timeline for the potential prequel's release.
I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, this game, it fills stadiums overseas. And it's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
The trailer is out for the next movie from Uncut Gems co-director Josh Safdie. Timothy Chalamet plays ping pong star Marty Mouser, and Marty Supreme. Also in the cast are Gwyneth Paltrow, and yes, your eyes weren't fooling you there. Shark Tank personality Kevin O'Leary is also in it as well. The A24 movie hits theaters December 25th. Now, do you have a story idea? We want to hear from you. Text us at 10400, and if you have them, send us photos and videos along as well.
I like it. Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. It's time to assemble in support of Cystic Fibrosis Canada at Superheroes Unite. Saturday, August 30th from noon until 4 p.m. at the Serbian Center. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kettner. And Melanie, you have an unusual sighting to tell us about.
That's right. Stargazers in southern Ontario spotted something unusual in the sky last night. The strange bow tie-shaped light has since fueled dozens of online posts and speculation about what could have caused the phenomenon. York University astronomy professor Jesse Rogerson says there's a simple explanation. It's part of a rocket that the United Launch Alliance launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida last night.
This was the first fully run rocket by ULA to deliver payloads to space, and it was replacing their old Deltas and their old Atlas V. And so when you launch something like this, when you launch a big rocket, especially this one which was going to geosynchronous orbit, 30,000 kilometers away, you need a lot of fuel, and you drop your stages as you go. So as you spent your fuel, you get rid of part of the rocket to make your rocket lighter and easier to push farther into space.
Rogerson says the rocket is carrying a payload from the United States Air Force. We've got those details online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we've also got a story online, Melanie, with West End lane closures.
Yes, the City of Windsor is letting drivers know about the work impacting Riverside Drive West. Westbound Riverside Drive West will have intermittent lane closures between Church Street and Ferry Street for restoration work in Dieppe Gardens Park. It takes place from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. starting tomorrow until Tuesday. You can find more construction stories on our website. And check out our social spotlight of a surprise visitor at a pool in Mexico.
I'm just going to scooch in right here if you don't mind.
Well, turns out they did mind and weren't expecting to see an iguana swim up beside them, and they sure moved away pretty quick, Stephanie.
Yeah, I would definitely mind as well, and I would continue backing up until I was out of the pool.
I would have jumped out like way faster, I think.
Okay, thank you, Melanie, and that's what's happening now. Pulling their weight. When we return, meet the teens representing the country in one of the world's most fiercely contested and under the radar sports.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor, Essex.
Only on Windsor, Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Another beautiful blue sky, but wow, extremely dry out there.
Dry, and you know, we got into some clouds that were nearby, but close, no cigar. We saw some thunderstorms just sliding south of Lake Erie. So in the meantime, we do remain a couple of degrees above seasonal, but not as humid. Therefore, today was a little bit more agreeable for most of us, I think, outside. Mostly sunny tomorrow after some early morning fog dissipates. We'll see a high of 28, feeling like 34. Sunny Friday and Saturday, 29 and 32 respectively. 30 on Sunday, it's cloudy, 40% chance of showers. And then the average temperature Monday through Wednesday is about 24 degrees. Colder air coming from the north and west will drop temperatures and make it feel even late summer-like, early fall-like. So a nice break is coming.
Thank you, Gary. Ricardo, we're heading to Queen's Park tonight.
Yeah, that's where there was a call for action, Stephanie, in Ontario's capital. The call for action from Ottawa on the war in Gaza. That call coming from provincial politicians and families with loved ones in Gaza as the war-torn territory and its some 2 million people struggle to receive aid right now. Now, those demanding actions say Canada needs to do more to get Canadians caught in the continuing military campaign out of there and home. Plus, we'll have more on the Hepatitis A warning at a Tecumseh restaurant we heard about today, and a look at a major meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin focused on the war in Ukraine. Now, those stories and more on the way tonight at 11.
Okay, thank you. Also tonight, a group of determined teens from southwestern Ontario are pulling more than just their weight. They're pulling for Canada. As CTV's Scott Miller shows us, the team is headed to the Netherlands to compete in an elite international tug-of-war championship.
With each practice, the Blue Water Youth Tug-of-War team is getting themselves ready to take on some of the best tug-of-war teams in the world.
It's a huge deal for us, you know. We're going to the Netherlands, it's a different country, so we know that the competition is going to be really hard over there because, you know, we've just been around here doing competitions in North America, and that's, you know, a small area. But now that we're going on like the world stage and against a whole bunch of other countries around the world, it's just a bigger deal, and we're really excited to show off what we got.
Hoffman is one of 10 members of the Blue Water Youth Tug-of-War team headed to the International Tug-of-War Tournament in the Netherlands on August the 30th. Very few North American teams ever get to participate, but this group of 10 to 17-year-olds who train bi-weekly near Dashwood have won the last 3 U23 North American Tug-of-War Championships, so they are eager to take on stiffer competition overseas.
Yep, the future of tug-of-war in Canada, hopefully we can get it to grow back to what some of the countries like Switzerland and the Netherlands have with, you know, memberships in the thousands, but you got to start here.
Blue Water has always had a strong senior tug-of-war team, but building up a junior squad has been a slow and steady process, convincing kids they don't need to be 250 pounds of pure muscle in order to participate.
It's more about technique and having multiple people on the rope. More people on the rope that you can fit underneath the weight limit, the better you are.
It's really all in the legs. You just have to pull what you can.
Tug-of-war is totally inclusive, but you just have to be strong for your weight, whether it's 100 pounds or 300 pounds. You're accountable for every pound of that on the rope, and that goes towards your team weight. So it's all relative, right?
Blue Water's youth tug-of-war team leaves for the Netherlands in just a couple weeks as they ready to represent Canada at the world's biggest tug-of-war competition for kids.
Yeah, it's so cool. Being able to tell people that you're going to represent our country is the coolest thing to be able to say. So
I'm really excited. I feel like it's a good opportunity for teamwork and just to represent Canada.
It's explosive power. Yeah, the kids are ready.
In Huron County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Clearly, there is a lot of technique there, and I have to say, Windsor Fire needs to get in contact with them because when they go head-to-head with Detroit Fire every single year, they lose.
Oh, there you go.
They lose. So there you go. Give them a call, and maybe you can learn some more techniques so we can beat those.
Throwing some shade on your husband's
I am.
Or you're not pulling your weight, pal.
He's a good man.
He is. Okay, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And I'll see you again tonight at 11 for a late look at local news.
Go Team Windsor.